Hey, everybody. I'm just waiting on Kristen. Kristen got stuck in line at Ralph's. Ralph's is a grocery store. Not one I'm a super big fan of. It always seems so expensive to me. I don't know. But that's where Kristen is right now. So I'm sitting here waiting. I've got some Entertainment Weekly here because we're talking about fall television. And this is the fall television issue. I have two of them. Fall television, a little Scream Queens action on the cover of this one. We're going to be talking about these things. I have a feeling Kristen probably has not watched Scream Queens. Just gonna throw that out there. I think anyone who listens or watches this regularly is aware that that's not really up her alley. But there's other things that we'll talk about from fall TV that should be super fun, including Mindy Project, which of course we're super into, including Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which came back strong. There's Kristen.
I'm so sorry.
How you doing?
Oh my God, I feel very flustered.
I'm just talking to the void here.
Oh God, I'm really sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Showing off my fall TV Entertainment Weekly here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, there's a little Scream Queens on this one, a little bit of everything on this one. So, just getting things geared up, getting things ready.
I'm really sorry, you guys. I'm happening. I'm ready. Here we go.
You're happening. Kristen is happening right now.
That's never been said in the history of time, but I'm saying it now.
Perfect.
Am I too low? I'm too low there. I don't know where to be. Am I too high? What's happening? Am I okay?
I think you're all right.
I should have moved.
This thing's good.
I'm feeling very stressed out. Okay.
Oh man.
I'm here. Where are we at? Am I doing the intro?
Yeah. Intro it up, man. Let's do this.
Okay.
Now we're really starting, you guys. Not just
Here we're going. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm sorry that you've sat here and listened to Corey ramble about God knows what for the past 5 minutes.
All right. Rude.
Here we go. Ready?
Ready.
Hey, fangirls and fanboys. It is episode 77 of the Electric Fan Cave on electricfeast.com. We got my girl Corey here, along with me, Kristen Latterell, your hosts, and also the human form of the Emoji 100, fascinatingly enough. So you're welcome, universe. We have lots of things we're going to talk about today. Most importantly, fall TV is in mid-swing. It's kind of cranking through. It's about to hit a home run, but it's not quite there. So that means most of the shows have premiered, or at least a lot of them, and some that we have actually enjoyed quite immensely. So we are going to talk about those. We're also going to talk about some very exciting X-Files trailers that I'm sure some of you have seen. And also some other things that I can't remember right now because I actually did not write an intro. I'm doing this off the top of my head. So we are just going to get into it, and we are going to get started, and it's going to be awesome. So thanks for joining us. I'm so sorry if this is your first time. Usually I am somewhat prepared. I am so sweaty and running around, and anyway, this is happening. Thank you for joining us. We love you. Yay, the Electric Fan Cave.
I was like, wow, this is kind of a weirdly rambly.
Oh my God.
What is happening right now? Now it all makes sense. You did a good job. I just thought like you had a lot to say as opposed to you had no idea what you were talking about. So I'm gonna give you points. I'm gonna give you credit for that. You did a good job. Kristen, where the heck are you coming from in such a flustered mess?
Okay, my life, you guys, is more dramatic than I make it out to be. So my friend Charlotte is leaving for Texas this week, so we had like a farewell kind of thing for her tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'll have plenty of time to go get back to the house. On Thursday, I have to bring a snack to this thing that I'm going to. So I needed to go to the store tonight because I don't have time to do it tomorrow. And the thing I'm making kind of has to marinate for a little bit. Ooh. So I was like, I'll just swing by the store. I totally have time. You guys, Ralph's had 2 lines open, which is completely ridiculous. I didn't have any candy in the line, and I really needed some because I'm feeling very stressed out, and I am a stress eater.
Oh, sad.
And then I was like rambling to the people in line. So like I got my basket, and there was like too many arm baskets kind of stacked up, so I just kind of teetered mine on the edge and then went to line. The guy behind me tries to stack his also, knocks over the entire stack and the display. It's this whole traumatic thing. The girl that he's with, which I think is his daughter, is like, oh, you knocked over the whole thing, like giving him a hard time. I was like, I feel like I should confess. That was my fault. My thing was teetering. I shouldn't have put it on there.
No. If someone goes to add something to a stack, that's on them. They have eyes. And
so then they were so now me and the people in line are like friends. And so I check out and I have this Trader Joe's bag that I, brought into Ralph's. And so they're packing it in there. So I brought my own bag. And the girl goes, oh my gosh, where'd you get your Trader Joe's bag? Now, a normal person would simply have said, oh, it was a gift, or lied and said, I got it at Trader Joe's. But no, that is not what I chose to say. I looked at her and said, oh, well, actually, the lady that works at the pizza place that I go to every week, she gave it to me as a Christmas present. And I launch into this whole explanation. And halfway through it, I'm like, why am I talking? They don't care. I simply could have said, oh, my friend gave it to me. But no, I chose to launch into this huge explanation of the pizza girl that I go to every week. She got me a present and she put JoJo's in it. This is how detailed I was in the story, by the way.
Wow.
And, it's like too late in the story when I realize she's looking at me with that like, oh, this
like I was crazy. Just making small talk. Yeah.
Oh.
Can we talk about basically you just outed yourself as Sandra Bullock in 2 weeks notice? Like you have a pizza place that knows you so well that they buy you presents
at Christmas time. Also, I overshare at the weirdest moments. In times when it actually counts, I don't share at all. But in times when it does not matter and the people are legit just saying things, I tend to overshare. And this is one of those moments. And so now I'm running in the house and I had to pee like freaking Seabiscuit. And this line was so long. And so I'm running through and I'm running home and I run upstairs and I pee. And I'm like, anyway, I'm here now. And that was also one of those instances where I didn't need to share all of that with you, but now I have. And I was supposed to write the intro, and it was supposed to be glorious because it was going to be a riff off of Brooklyn Nine-Nine's episode, and I only snuck in the one joke I could remember, and I'm totally acting like a Fatone when I am definitely a Timberlake, and this is just not how this was supposed to be.
Oh, but you worked it in. You worked it in. You guys, oh my gosh, we're so excited to talk about Brooklyn Nine-Nine and all of that kind of stuff. And hopefully anyone, if you want to add insights on fall TV and what you're into and what you're not into and all that kind of stuff, feel free to do it anytime throughout the cast. We'll get there. But also, Kristen, in a lighter note that's not as flustering, you got to see Die Hard in a theater. Apparently you just said, am I too high? That's the out of context Fancave quote so far in the cast that was tweeted to us.
I said that?
You did, yeah. She might be. There's a chance she's too high.
I don't remember saying, am I too high?
Yeah, I don't. We'll watch it back and find out. Kristen, Die Hard in the theater.
So as I've probably talked about multiple times on this show, Die Hard is my favorite movie, the original. I love it so much. This summer, I was at this local theater, and they show old movies like once a week. And I noticed that in September, they were showing Die Hard. So, of course, immediately I called my dad, and I said, Monday, on the 28th of September, please save the date. We're going to go see Die Hard in the theater. So I got the tickets last week because I was very nervous it's going to sell out, because clearly this is everyone else's
on a Monday night in September.
Clearly this is everyone's favorite movie, if it's not so mine. So I'm like, hey, Dad, you probably want to get to my house at like 5:15 so we can get food and then still have time to get to the theater. The movie started at 7, mind you.
The line's probably going to go forever. People are going to be cosplaying John McClane,
I am 100%.
Hans Gruber.
You guys, I honestly was legitimately 100% worried that we were going to have to sit in the front row. So we get there super early. We walk up to the ticket. I take a picture with my dad. I'm so excited. My dad proceeds it. So now I won't get into the whole story. Once again, I'm not going to overshare. But
look at you. Look at you holding back.
So my dad and I kind of have this movie. We watch this movie together. This is our thing. He explains to me, which I didn't know this before. He actually didn't see Die Hard when it came out, because I don't know if you guys know this. It was kind of a sleeper movie. It wasn't a huge blockbuster movie when it came out.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I mean, people saw it, but it wasn't by any means like this huge action hit. And so when it came out on VHS, his cousin and had brought it over to watch. And so then after that, he was like, oh, this movie is excellent, blah, blah, blah. So then he showed it to me. So he was telling me, I've never seen this on the big screen either. So I'm like, awesome, we're going to see it together. There were less than probably 15 people in this theater.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's
I was like,
hilarious.
Oh, we probably didn't have to get here a half an hour early. That's my bad.
It's part of the experience. No, you know what? Actually, this quarter I'm teaching a course that's in like exhibition, and the students in the class run these screenings at the movie theater nearby. And one of the things that the guy who like runs the theater told me is he's like, don't do throwback screenings. Nobody comes to those. I was like, what? That seems ridiculous. Like, I would love going to that. And he's like, no, nobody shows up. He's like, we've done Goonies, we've done Back to the Future, we've done all kinds of stuff, and nobody comes to these, which is bizarre to me because I'm used to going to like those huge Cinespia screenings and stuff like that where like everyone comes out, but apparently people just aren't that invested in seeing things that they've watched a million times on DVD and can watch on DVD or torrent or whatever on like a normal movie screen.
Now I can tell people that I've seen it on the big screen.
That matters to me. Like when my brother and I got to go see Jurassic Park on the big screen for that 20th anniversary, that was a big deal. Like, yes, I've seen this 100 times, but I haven't seen it in the theater. So,
well, and I was excited because the movie, when they started it, the sound wasn't working.
Oh,
and so I leaned over to my dad and I was like, looking at him, and I was like, oh, not a fan of flying, are you? You know, so I'm like quoting along with the movie, and he is just dying. Because my whole thing was like, I am actually really annoying to watch this movie with because I'm like, oh, no more table. Here's some advice. Next time, you know, don't hesitate. He's like, thanks for the advice, you know? He's like, welcome to the party, pal. And I like know all of these lines, and I know them, and then I hit people, and I'm excited.
Kristen does get punchy. That's a thing.
I'm a very annoying person to go to the movies with. And I'm totally aware of that, but I just don't care.
This is the hashtag probably why I'm single tweet right here.
This is probably, I probably should, because this is legit probably a good reason. And actually I have a funny story about that later, which is you would actually, it's so embarrassing. Well, it's embarrassing to me, probably to no one else. But anyway.
You're going to need to tell it like soon though, because I don't want to forget about it. So
that's okay. We can forget. It's not really that embarrassing.
Okay.
It's not even that great of a story now that I think about it. But
okay. Well.
It was really fun. And me and my dad quoted along to the whole movie because like I said, there was 11 people in the theater, so no one cares. And it was just and it was actually interesting to watch it with more than just me and my dad because people laughed at the same things you laugh at. Or even some things that are like more of the subtle jokes, people are laughing. And I'm like, this is so fun to see it with a group of people. And so it was really fun. And even my dad, who's like very understated, he was like, we're getting back to my house and dropped me off, and he kind of looks at me and goes, thanks for inviting me. He's like, that was really fun. I'm like, wasn't it? So also, I'm adding this to my list of things you've said were fun that I've invited you to because sometimes I'm not sure if you like the things that I do with you. So.
Like he's just tolerating it because it's like, it's my daughter. I should.
She seems excited, so I'll go along with it. But then again, I'm excited about most things, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it would be hard to keep up. In fairness, as a parent, it would be hard to keep up with all of your excitement. And I would say the same about me, but, you know, I don't think my parents ever made like that big of an attempt to it. They're just like, she's you know, on another level.
When I was a kid, I took my dad. The first time we watched Die Hard was when we had this like Dad and Kristen's Day of Fun. That's what I called it.
Aww.
And I took him to the Gene Autry Museum of Western History because clearly that's what you do when you're having.
That's the one you went to a couple weeks ago too, right?
I did. I go there often because I'm super cool. I actually am thinking about joining the membership.
I was about to ask if you had a membership.
I thought about it, but anyway. He did also mention that was a really fun day. He remembered it. So,
now, have you been to the La Brea Tar Pits? Did we talk about this?
Yes, and I was mortified because I was really worried I was going to fall in and become a dinosaur and be stuck in the tar pits.
Oh, See, because my understanding of this, and I honestly can't remember if we've discussed this before, but is that it's kind of not a big deal when you actually see them in person. But they actually genuinely seemed daunting to you then.
I was also small.
Okay, that's fair. The scale was probably different. It's just I always hear that it's a little disappointing to go to, but at the same time, I've always wanted to.
But they have animals like half sticking out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, not real animals, obviously, but
no, not so much. They have placed animals in the La Brea tar pits. It's just something I think of when I think of like LA things. It's like, you know, there's this Gene Autry thing that I've never been to.
They're right by the Grove.
Are they by the Grove?
Yeah, it's sort of by where you would go to see like the late. We drove by them. We went to go see the Late Late Show. Really? No kidding. That's where the La Brea tar pits are. They're not too far. I mean, it's not like next to it, but it was. We drove by some on the way.
I had no idea, and I've been over there a million times, and I didn't know I was missing out on the opportunity to see this thing that I've heard of my entire life.
They're kind of in the middle of everything, which is random. So.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's LA. It's not like they're going to be like, we better preserve the entire area around this. They're like, put a fence around it.
Yeah. And LA doesn't have time for that.
No, it's not a thing that they do. Like, meh, whatever, wildlife things. No, it's just, it's a tourist trap. Put it in the midst of other
It's things. Literally a tourist trap. Get it?
Oh! I see what you did there.
Anyway,
yeah. So there's that. Okay. Well,
so we did that. It was super fun. Good. I also went to your hometown.
That's true. Yeah, you went to San Francisco this weekend. I totally forgot. How was it?
It was fun. It was super fun.
Yeah.
Really fun to hang out. So we did an Airbnb.
Nice. That's the way to do everything.
The lady picked us up from the airport.
Dang.
And she bought us breakfast snacks for the morning.
Oh, that's so sweet. See, Airbnb. You can't go wrong. I mean, you can go wrong. There's like Airbnb nightmare things. I've never gone wrong.
This was not one of the. I have not had a bad experience, and she was excellent. So
yeah, the worst experience I ever had with an Airbnb was simply that in Montreal, the lady was Chinese, and so she had cable, but it was only Asian cable. So I could not enjoy the Canadian TV, which is fine. It would be all in
you don't get to anyway. No, you couldn't have seen Flashpoint or The Listener?
No, it's Montreal. Everything was like legit French Canadian there. So, you know, the few channels that were not Chinese on her TV were 100% French. There was no Flashpoint or anything like that.
No Flashpoint?
No, and the
boycotted.
Yeah, it's really hard to understand. Like, I feel like if I watch normal things in French, like from France, I don't have that hard of a time understanding them. But I was like, I tried to watch the news or something, and I was like,
I know. Every time I watch those French movies, because I'm super into them, I'm like, ugh.
I don't. Yeah, no, not so much. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
It's not.
Shall we talk about television?
Let's do.
I want to, before I forget, point out that Melanie has said that the Once Upon a Time premiere was amazing, and it's set up to be a great season. 5th season.
Wow.
That's amazing. When something like that is on its 5th season, that's one of those things that makes me feel a little old, because, like, I mean, I just, like, 5 years ago seems like it should be a really long time ago. And it's like that. It's nothing.
That means 5 years ago, Jamie Dornan was on that show because he was on the first season of Once Upon a Time.
Graham, we miss you so much. 5 years ago was when Jamie Dornan walked into our hearts and then unceremoniously. What?
I've always been self-conscious about the way I walk. You know, walking on my tiptoes, and people, my mates always like, "Oh, you got really good." It's because you walk on your tiptoes.
Is that a character thing?
Is that a character thing? No, it's just, I thought it'd be funny, but like, nah, that's just the way I walk, you know. It's like, oh, you have to be like heel toe.
Nobody ever said that to me before.
I've always been like more toe.
I feel like you sound more like Martin than you sound like Jamie there. But
once I watch it, I can do a really good mimic for the next like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and then it wears out.
But then it wears off.
Yeah, no. In case you don't listen to us regularly and have no idea what just happened, we were just imitating Jamie Dornan on the Graham Norton show, talking about how ridiculous his walk is.
That was our Irish accent. You probably could.
Northern is like a Belfast accent, in case you're wondering. It may not have come across. May not have come across. But yeah, 5 years since that on Once Upon a Time. I do sort of wish I was caught up because it's a fun, feel-good sort of show. I mean, even though sometimes it's like terrible things happen on it or whatever, it is like it's a good family-style show. It just feels, I don't know, different than anything else that I watch. I don't really watch anything that you could sit and watch with the family, per se. not that I have a family to watch it with, so like, why would I? But we're glad to hear that went well. And also, Sean has just put in, he can't tune in right now. So Sean, as a later gram, hi, nice to hear from you. And he asked us how we're feeling about the new Gotham. I'm still super behind on it. How about you, Laddie?
Me too, but I hear it's amazing well, it's going to be amazing this season.
Yeah. I want to. I was saying earlier that I've gotten super into Showtime shows, which I think I've discussed of late. And so recently, my most recent Showtime binge is Shameless, which my friend Kent has been telling me to watch forever, like for the 5 years that's been on. And I never had Showtime until I added it on Hulu a couple months ago. And so once I finished my Californication and Ray Donovan and The Affair and all that other stuff that I've been watching on there, I was like, I guess I'll watch Shameless. And one of the actors on it is great. I mean, they're all great, but one of the younger ones, his name's Cameron Monaghan, I think. He's like a ginger dude. And he is, I've seen the commercials for this.
Does he have a small mouth?
No, he actually has kind of a big one. So he's not really Bree's bag, the gingers with small mouths, but he's adorable. He's like got freckles and he's kind of cute and everything. But he's playing someone who looks super crazy on the new season of Gotham. And I don't know if they introduced him last season or not, but
the maniac or whatever, right? That guy?
I don't know. I've only seen him in the commercials, so I don't know.
He has crazy eyes and everything I've seen him in. And honestly, when he's always shows up on my feed, because I think I actually follow Gotham on Facebook.
I think I noticed that. Yeah.
Every time he pops up, I have to scroll past him because his face scares me.
Are you sure? Is he a redhead?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's probably him,
right? He's a young guy.
He's young.
It's got to be him.
Okay,
and I've only seen like crazy eyes and crazy smile. He's like,
yeah, the smile is like,
yes,
intense.
That's him, and it actually does freak me out a little bit, and I kind of have to pause it. Although Gotham, we could catch up. Gotham is on Netflix now.
I know, and that's the thing. So I have to go and binge watch all of that on Netflix. That's on my agenda.
What? You don't have that much of the season. We watched most of it last season.
I think I've only watched like 9 out of like 23.
Oh, maybe. Shoot. And I would have stopped before you probably.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's kind of a ways to go. So I have a couple more weeks till exams. And then after that, I can binge watch it. And then I can catch up on this season. And Sean, we will talk about it. I know you always want to, and we always fail you. I will do my best once this is up. But I just haven't gotten a chance to check that out yet. So when I'm like working on things, I tend to binge watch stuff that's short seasons so that I'm not wasting as much time. And it's usually background anyway. Anything I have to pay attention to, I try not to watch while I'm supposed to be working. But so Gotham looks good. We're interested to hear how it's going. We did, of course, watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine this week.
It was everything, you guys.
It was glorious. I don't want to give any spoilers away because I don't like to spoil something like just after it came out. Right. So there's some interesting twists and turns that happen in this that that were great. We'll put it that way. And the whole episode is so funny. Having Captain Holt in another precinct where he's stuck in.
Him and Gina are just on point.
Oh my gosh. Which
Gina is just in her own world. It's so.
This is where the human form of the 100 emoji thing comes from. Is a thing
it's clearly a Gina-ism, but
yeah. And the whole conversation in which that occurs is one of my favorite conversations that's ever happened in Brooklyn Nine-Nine history. You guys, if you like Brooklyn Nine-Nine at all, you're going to die. It's a conversation about a pigeon mascot.
It's amazing. Just that whole thread.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a really great. The only thing I realized is that there was zero Scully and Hitchcock.
Except that they mentioned Scully.
Yeah. So I was a little bit bummed, but I'm not that by no means detracted because Boyle was so freaking awesome in it. Gosh. And so was Diaz was in like prime Diaz mode.
Let's just talk for a second that our friend Bree pointed out that Kristen, of all the characters on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Kristen is Boyle.
You guys, so here's if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know what happened in the season finale. So my thing is that, and actually this has happened even last season. The way that my initial point was, I want someone to look at me the way that Jake looks at Amy, because the way his face looks at her sometimes is just
amazing.
so it's like, I don't expect it to come from Andy Samberg in the first place. It's so great. So that happens. And then I was like, I also want someone to give me like really excellent, like Boyle does. He gives really good advice, and then it gets really weird at the end.
Like you start talking about shampooing your hair because it's
and
the
you're
most
like,
erotic thing.
What's happening? Like, no, stop before you stick your foot in your mouth. And Brie goes, kind of, that's you. And I stop. I'm like, crap. That is me. I knew that. And then I was like, of all the people, I didn't think I was going to be Boyle, but I think I might be Boyle because.
Yeah.
No, well. At least I'm not Hitchcock or Scully, I guess.
No, yeah, it could be worse. So there's that.
But it is if you guys haven't watched it, you really need to. It is so good.
Yeah, it has not dipped in quality at all. It's still awesome. And it's actually doing a good job with characters that have gotten together, which is always the thing, like the Pam and Jim syndrome sort of thing, where you're like, is this going to work, or is it just going to kill the show now that the main, tension is gone? Yeah. And I think with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, while it was always sort of a central thing, we love the will they, won't they of that, there's enough hilarity in the whole cast, and it's enough of an ensemble show as opposed to it really being centered on them, that it ends up still just being just as funny when we have that sort of resolution in a sense, Yeah,
so it's going to be a great season. I'm excited per usual for it, so.
And you should also follow everyone in that cast on Instagram, because it's nothing but gloriousness.
It's so true. And Twitter.
Make you happy. And on Twitter, just everywhere. Just follow them, down the street, wherever.
I wish I could follow them down the street.
I would do it. I would do it if there were an opportunity. Just like Breckenmeyer. Straight up.
Oh my gosh, Breckenmeyer.
Follow him around. And yeah, so there's that. Also, Mindy Project came back on Hulu. Now,
guys, if you were worried that because Mindy was switching to Hulu instead of Fox that it was going to be different or anything, it's not.
It's not. Yeah.
Exactly the same. It's exactly as hilarious as you expect it to be.
Yeah.
Everybody is perfect in it. The first episode, we actually live booked it together with me and Corey and a couple of other friends of ours, Jen and Jerry and Emily. And it was incredible. It was so good. And then the second episode, we watched it alone, but it was equally, it has that same quirky, weird things that Mindy says that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. Those kind of like under the breath, like comments. And Morgan, although is like skinny, is weird, but it's so funny.
Heartthrob Morgan is not okay.
It's so weird. It's like when Andy Dwyer got skinny and hot, and you're like, you're still trying to make him derpy, but you can tell he's like super hot under whatever it is that he's wearing. I'm like,
It's true.
But he's still funny, and it's just a great show.
It's funny that you bring that up, because actually when I was watching it, that was one of the things I was thinking, is that partway through it was the second episode that I was like, this is weird that this is on Hulu. This did not air on TV, and it's exactly the same thing. I don't notice any difference between them. Nope. I wonder though, like, so how last season they had the famous butt sex episode, if you will, and they couldn't say anything that was actually like explicitly saying what they were talking about, so it was just all euphemisms. And I wonder if now that they're on Hulu, that's going to be different, because if you recall, when Selfie went to Hulu, all of a sudden they had like swearing and stuff in the show. So I wonder if there's going to be any, or if they're just going to try to maintain it the way that it was, just to not alienate anyone who came from Fox to watch it over, because they're not canceled. Like Selfie, I think they were like, screw it,
let's do whatever we want.
Yeah, we're not trying to retain an audience. So who knows?
That was one of the things that I know we were both worried about. But then the more I thought about it, and like the fact that I even follow Mindy on Instagram, is it was the same people that she was like, here's our writers. I'm like, it was still her. It was still all those people that were involved in the Fox portion of the show were involved in the Hulu portion. So she got to just bring over everybody. It wasn't like they made her, pick Hulu people. It was like, no, just bring your show's working. Fox is just stupid. So bring over everybody. It'll be great. So it has.
Exactly.
It's been really excellent. It's totally stood up to expectations. So it's been.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Now, you watched the first episode of Minority Report, right? Yeah, which I think is also, it's on like right now as we speak. So we're missing the second episode, I believe. But what did you think of it?
I liked it, actually. I thought it was fun. It gave me a little bit of an almost human feel.
Very much so, yeah.
Which is funny because it's like reversed. And there's a woman in it. But it was interesting because I don't know if you guys have seen Minority Report. If we need to set this up at all, should I just talk about it?
Like the movie or the show?
I feel like the movie kind of sets. I mean, if you haven't watched the movie, you can still shoot the show, but whatever. Anyway, so the point is right. So this the main guy in the movie or the show is this. They call him a precog. So he's basically a
like a psychic
guy.
Yeah.
And so but for like 10 years of his life in formative years, so like from his teens into his 20s, he was kind of hooked up to a machine in which people could see the visions that he was having. So his interpersonal skills are not excellent. Reminds me a little bit of Dorian from Almost Human, where he just kind of says what he's thinking. And so, and the cop that he's working with, who's Megan Good, who is like so beautiful. I'm just so
beautiful. It's unreal.
You're disgustingly beautiful. I get it, Megan Good. You're amazing. So true. Mm-hmm. But again, they also have her in high-heeled boots, which we won't get into. I've already ranted about it. But she kind of was like looking at him and is like, okay, hey, like
she constantly has to like rein him in because he just says
things, and then there comes a part where he's like trying to do what she asked him to, or she's like, just whisper, and so he's whispering something, and she gets like crapped on by a bird, and she looks at him, and he'd been like, don't stand there, you don't want to stand there, and he's like being awkward, and she's like ignoring him, and then she gets crapped on, and she looks at him all accusingly. He's like, you said to whisper, and it's like this innocent kind of, he's got this weird childlike innocence mixed with like these terrible, I mean, he's seen really awful murders and just, he doesn't know kind of how to deal with people. And so I thought it was fun. And plus I loved What I Like About You. So seeing Nick Zano come back was exciting. And I'd already mentioned that Wilmer Valderrama, you're right. His voice is interesting, but he's just very attractive, which I never would have ever said Wilmer Valderrama is like attractive. I know. But he is looking really good in this show. He's kind of grown up, and they got this thing going. But it's fun, and so I'm excited to kind of see the next couple and see how it goes. I'm worried because it does remind me so much of Almost Human that it won't last. That it'll be the same. But it's fun. It's just a fun show, and I always loved Minority Report. I thought it was a fun movie. So this is an interesting take, kind of. I thought that was an interesting thing to spin off on. I'm like, how are they gonna?
But they made it work as far as I'm concerned. I saw a lot of reviews that didn't think that it landed, and I was like, I feel like, and I don't know. That's the thing, is I enjoyed Almost Human a lot, and apparently that didn't land, and I don't know I don't know. I guess I just don't understand what isn't working about shows like that. I'm like, they're funny, they're sci-fi, they're accessible. They're cool. There's cool technology in it. Like, I actually really liked it because she was like, oh, my dad had all the classics, and he's going through the albums. And the one that he pulls out in the first episode is this one by a band called Good Old War. It's called Broken Into Better Shape. And I just bought that album, or actually someone gave it to me. Actually, well, now this is embarrassing. The girl that gave me the Trader Joe's bag also gave me this CD. Wow.
Not a month ago. She gave it to me. And so it was really funny to see. I'm like, I just bought that, and she's like, oh, my dad listened to all the classics. I'm like, it's a classic, and whatever.
That's great.
So it was actually really fun to see that, and that's what's really. I always like that too about iRobot, when he's like he wears like the old Chuck Taylor. He's like, these are classics, like you can't get these anymore. And I'm like, oh my god, stop it! You're so cute.
Yeah, totally. So I personally, I guess not personally, the Fancave endorses Minority Report, the TV show. I think both of us enjoyed that. There's good eye candy for everyone who watches, and it's also like just a fun sci-fi adventure action. Like it's keep you on the edge of your seat ish. I mean, it's a procedural at its core. They're trying to solve murders and things like that. But
they're trying to put an arc in it that's there's some kind of shenanigans that his brother and the other precog. They can see the future also, and it's just, and we gotta watch it. But you're like, it kind of at the end, it kind of hooked you. I'm like, oh, so what is it that they're talking about? Like, what's going on? So
I'll be keeping up with that. Now, did you watch Last Man on Earth? Premiere of that.
I didn't because I didn't really keep up with that last season.
Oh,
I wasn't super into it.
Okay, yeah, I just watched the Last Man on Earth premiere, and it's gonna win for the saddest sitcom premiere ever. It was so sad. It's like it ended, and we were just sitting there. We were like, oh, I think I need to.
Yeah,
I need to watch some Bob's Burgers or something now.
Oh, wow.
Because if you do watch Last Man on Earth, at the end of last season, they were basically kicked out of Tulsa by the collective that they were with, or Phil was kicked out of Tulsa, and Kristen Shaw's character went with him. She chose him over them, and now they're touring the U.S. together, trying to have a fun time, but she misses them, and it's really sad and all that kind of stuff. But then another terrible thing happens in this episode that just really, it's kind of soul crushing. So, and also what we have in this season, we found out at the end of the last episode that Phil has a brother played by Jason Sudeikis who is in space by himself.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we have basically Kristen Shaw and Will Forte and Jason Sudeikis as the three characters that we see in this episode. And Jason Sudeikis in space is heartbreaking, but also adorable. So there's a lot. It's sad, but I'm sure it's gonna. I mean, it's funny too. It's a funny episode, but it's sad. So I'm sure it's gonna be more uplifting as it goes along, and things will go back to being Last Man on Earth. But the interesting thing about that show in general is that it flips a lot of sitcom conventions on its head, because the person that you think you're supposed to like and root for, Phil being the main character, by the time he meets other people, you realize he's a despicable person and you hate him. And that's very unusual for a sitcom to be like, you legit can't stand the main character and you want bad things to happen to him. So I don't know. Maybe this whole season's going to be sad. It's going to be like, what's that Ricky Gervais show on Netflix? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's someone's name. Anyways.
Arthur?
No, it's not Arthur. Derek.
Simon?
Derek.
Derek?
Yeah, it's called Derek.
Derek? Dustin?
Yes. Derek is the name of the show, and every episode is funny, but also makes you sob. Oh. So I don't know. Maybe that's what they're going to be going for in this season of Last Man on Earth. We'll see. Also, I thought that Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder had great premieres. I was not super into the Empire premiere. I found it kind of boring. I don't know what else.
Didn't the season finale? Wasn't it weird? You had said that last fall.
The season finale was stupid. Of Empire. It was just one of the dumbest 2 hours of television that I've ever watched. But the rest of the season was so good that I kind of forgave it. But the first episode, I think when you end with so much happening, it's like, what do you do with the next
How do you
season?
Start that again?
Yeah, and what they did seemed to almost like it didn't pay enough attention to everything that they'd done with that season finale, and it was, I don't know, it was a weird episode, and it had weird cameos. One of my pet peeves in television shows is real people cameos. I hate people cameoing as themselves. And
except in Moesha when Brandy cameoed as Brandy.
Well, that's another thing altogether. Like when it's kind of a meta sort of thing. But in this case, it's like they had what's the sort of black activist guy who also has a show on CNN.
CNN.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You know who it is, and I know who it is, and my mind is just blanking at the moment.
He's
an
activist and has a show on CNN.
He was.
Is it named after him?
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna figure this out. But so he was on it, and they had it was just this whole thing where they had a festival, and as Cookie is walking through, she keeps talking to all these random people. Al Sharpton is who I'm thinking of.
Oh, he has his own show on CNN.
Yeah, he has his own show on CNN. I know, it's weird. And it's just I hate that. It feels like pandering. It doesn't feel real.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems unnecessary to me. So when a show does that, automatically I'm like, Also, the exception I will give to that is Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec did that very well.
Oh my gosh, remember when Michelle Obama was on it?
Yeah,
Joe
Michelle
Biden.
Obama, Olympia
And
Snow,
McCain.
like, yeah, John McCain.
The John McCain one was the best. And that was actually
with the coat.
Oh my gosh. It was so good because John McCain, not everyone's favorite, clearly not everyone's favorite person. Like in that moment was everyone's favorite person.
You love him in that moment.
In that moment, you're like, he's an all right guy. And then, then he opens his mouth later and you're like, all right.
Yeah, and then
but in that moment, I was like, you made me love John McCain for this, however long.
Yeah, so Parks and Rec did a good job with that. The Good Wife used it, and that's always my least favorite thing about The Good Wife, because I think that show is otherwise flawless, except that they have real people cameos. I'm like, ugh, stop.
Yeah.
But, Scream Queens. Here's my thing with Scream Queens.
I didn't watch that.
I know you didn't, and I said before you signed on here, when I started the broadcast, I was like, holding up my magazine. I was like, okay, so, here's my Scream Queens Entertainment Weekly. It came in the mail. I have a feeling Kristen did not watch this. But my thing with Scream Queens is just, it's a Ryan Murphy joint. Ryan Murphy of Glee and American Horror Story fame. And so my prediction is it's good for 6 episodes and then it's terrible, because that's always how it works with Ryan Murphy. So the first episode was fun. And I mean, you've got like Nick Jonas and Ariana Grande and all kinds of people in there, which is fun.
They did like.
Should
you not tell me?
Sorry.
I
don't know. Close your ears for a second. I'm gonna say. So if you don't want to know, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she totally gets
awesome.
And they have some gratuitous Nick Jonas eye candy in it. Like, they know their target audience so well. I love Nick Jonas so much. Oh my gosh, I gotta find you a GIF or something just so you can
Please
see this.
Because I don't want to watch the whole episode, but I would like to see a GIF of that.
But the thing with this show is, like, it's very over the top in that very Ryan Murphy way, and I can see it getting obnoxious. Like, it's just too much. Is even after, because the premiere was 2 hours, it was 2 episodes in a row, and by the end of the second one, I was like, I like it, but also it's just it's too much, and I hate everybody so much. And how much of that can you really watch when people are just like huge versions of the characters that they should be playing? So I don't know. I mean, it could be really good. But in all likelihood, it's going to flame out like every episode of every season of American Horror Story, and like Glee did and all that, where it just becomes sort of a parody of itself soon. So that's my take on Scream Queens for those who are interested in watching that show. It's fun. It's a good meta horror type thing that's self-aware, but it's also really over the top. Right. Anything else you watched, Kristen?
I actually watched Limitless.
Oh, how was that? I've never even seen the movie.
See, that this is the hard part about it, because I can't really talk about my one beef with the show without ruining the movie.
Well, I'm okay with it personally. I don't.
So I'm not sure how to. I'm not really sure how to proceed from this moment.
I'm gonna assume that anyone listening either has seen Limitless or, like me, will never watch Limitless. So I say go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to go for it. So they completely changed the end of the movie to fit the show, which I thought was interesting. So if you've seen the movie, the premise of this movie is Bradley Cooper's character gets this drug from a friend that heightens his abilities, and he becomes super smart and is like unstoppable, basically. But he has to keep taking it, otherwise he kind of goes through with like extreme withdrawals that are really bad for him. So in the movie, he gets the pill and then he goes back to get more. And when he goes back to get more, he finds the guy that gave it to him is dead, and people have murdered him in order to get the drug. Mm-hmm. And then so this whole movie is basically people chasing him to get this drug. It's this whole long thing. But at the end of the movie, so it's like the end of the movie, you find out like, this guy's like trying to blackmail him. Like, I know you're taking this drug, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, please, that was however many years ago. He's used the drug in order to make it so he doesn't have to take the drug anymore. Kind of doing I haven't taken a pill of this. I haven't taken an NZT pill in, 4 years, ever since I figured out how to, make it permanent. So he's like made a way to make it permanent. Now in the TV show, it's almost the exact same thing. This guy starts out kind of a deadbeat, not even, I'm going to say deadbeat, just kind of wanderer, doesn't really know what he's doing. His friend gives him a pill and he's, amazing and is incredible. He goes back to get more. His friend is dead. Someone has murdered him in order to find his medication, the pill.
Okay.
But then the FBI, so people think it's him that, he's kind of at the scene. So everyone thinks it's him. So he's like on the run. If you watch Dexter, it's the sister from Dexter.
Okay. Jennifer Carpenter.
Sure. Who I'm not really sure how I feel about.
Yeah.
And the first episode was a little weird because it was like, her like gut basically is telling, even though all of the evidence is pointing to him as being the murderer, her gut, whatever she's going with is like, it's not him, right?
Yeah.
So there's this point in the show where he gets shot by this guy who's trying to steal the medication or the pill or whatever, or the drug, I guess you should call it. Medication makes it sound like he needs it.
Yeah.
The drug. He gets shot, and so he like calls her, and she like talks him through how to sew up his own wound. Like, this is not a thing. She would call, they would send the paramedics, they would bring him in
and then arrest this dude.
Yeah, and just like her gut is not enough
from there.
Exactly, like her gut is not enough to go on to like make him innocent. So, and then actually Bradley Cooper shows up and kind of makes this guy a deal where, so what they've changed is that Bradley Cooper is actually still taking the drug, but he's developed a way where the side effects are no more. So like the withdrawals, he doesn't get those, or like coming down from it, he doesn't get that anymore. And the effects of the drug which has killed people, he also, that doesn't affect him. So he makes a deal with this guy for whatever reason that he's very vague about. Like, I see something in you that you could be helpful to me. So I'm going to
Too much hunching.
Right? I'm going to give you this antidote so you can keep taking the drug and being amazing. And then eventually I'm going to call in my marker at some point, and need you for something. So, so it was okay. The main guy in it's really likable. Actually, Sloan from Alias plays his dad and is like a really good guy. And he's like he got this family that loves him, and
that's nice.
So it's like kind of good. It's like, I don't know. It was okay. It was more of
Do you see yourself managing to watch it every week?
Yeah, no. I only watched it because it's on CBS, and I happened to be at my parents' house. My dad had watched. He's like, "Oh, you should watch Limitless." He watched Minority Report. I made him watch Minority Report. He had me watch Limitless. So it's not something I'm going to watch because it's going to be way too much effort to try and figure out a way to watch it. But it was okay. It wasn't my. I definitely liked Minority Report better. If coming off of a movie, if we're gonna go off of that as the criteria for the show, but I don't know. There was just too many holes, kind of, and I'm not really sure. It's like it was too much of like I'm gonna have to just like believe.
Just accept that
just accept happen. That where I'm like, there's no reason for Bradley Cooper to take a interest in this random musician who's done nothing to think that he's like gonna be helpful somehow. You know what I mean? So. I don't know.
Fair enough.
It was okay, but Bradley Cooper is like so pretty. It's like whatever. And I'm not really sure how I feel about the girl. She's a little bit I don't know. I was like not super into her, but
okay, fair enough.
That's not reason enough. Maybe you guys like it. I don't know.
Yeah, if you disagree with us, feel free to let us know. That's a-okay on any of them. If we are totally wrong in your estimation, feel free to tell us. Yeah, I think that's most of the fall TV that's come out so far that I've paid attention to and I'm into. Oh, and the Muppets. The Muppets were great. It's basically 30 Rock with Muppets, and that's basically an unimpeachable combination as far as I'm concerned. So definitely watch the Muppets. Don't listen to 1 million moms who tell you shouldn't. It's fantastic. It does that thing that I've talked about many times about the fact that like I just think of the Muppets as people. Like I don't think of them as like puppets. And when you watch the show, that's totally how you feel. Like these are not puppets. These are like humans. These are people. You could run into them anywhere. Right. And I just think that's amazing. It's amazing that has been created, and that's a thing that exists and is popular. So there you go.
There you go.
Anyways. We should move along to our other things.
Really?
Where's my list of things here? Other television news we can broach quickly. Jessica Jones gets a new teaser trailer.
it just nothing happened. I mean, it was cool, but I'm like, they're killing me.
I know they are.
They gotta give me something. They gotta give me something.
But it's cool. This trailer is basically,
I'm not
her
saying I'm disappointed. I'm just, I want more.
They're doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, apparently they're doing their job because I'm like, just go.
Yeah, because it's 50 seconds or whatever, and it's just her lying in bed on her belly. Her alarm clock goes off. She reaches over and just like crushes it into a million pieces with her hand. And so it's really nothing, but it's that starting to give you bit by bit pieces of who this character is and what you can expect from her. Because I think also they're realizing, like, they know that people, like with Daredevil, people knew who Daredevil was before this came out because there had been a movie aside from the comics and everything. Like, people saw the Ben Affleck movie even if they hated it. So they understood what the conceit of Daredevil was. And with Jessica Jones, I feel like most people have no idea what she is, who she is, anything like that. So this is, amongst these first glimpses you're seeing of like, so why is she like a super person or whatever? And
we already have that person in Hell's Kitchen. Why do we need another one?
Right. Yeah. And so what's the difference here? And so this is like our first glimpse, like, oh, okay, she's got like some sort of super strength thing going on here. And bit by bit, I imagine they'll reveal more, and we'll get to see it. So, but I mean, the show comes out in November, right? Is that what we?
Yeah, it's the 20th, I think.
I was gonna say 20th. Yeah. So maybe we'll get a full trailer soon, or maybe not. They'll just keep giving that, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be like, bam, here's the show. Watch it. And we're all gonna do it. We're all gonna watch.
I'm trying to remember back to Daredevil what they had.
Well, I remember they had, because you remember we talked about the trailer for that, because I said it seemed very like Evanescence-y and very like, Hot Topic 2002 sort of vibe to it.
Okay.
And so I wasn't like super into the trailer for it.
I just don't remember. It's hard now because I just love the show so much.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like so far removed from that. I'm like, screw that.
I'm like,
trailer.
obviously the trailer must have been amazing.
Yeah, you really liked the trailer, just for the record. I was more skeptical of it because it felt very old school to me, but I was clearly won over by the show. So I don't know, maybe with Jessica Jones, they're just going to give us like pieces instead of something like that. And that's what we're going to do with it. So
we'll see. Anyway, obviously still stoked. They have not yet deterred us from wanting to watch it. So
nope. And also X-Files. X-Files got basically 3 trailers this week.
Yeah.
So there was like 2 really short teaser trailers and 1 longer trailer. And so we see some of the familiar characters from the show, which then brought me, little Smoking Man sort of teaser there, a little Skinner,
Skinner.
Yeah, there's.
I didn't even watch X-Files, and I know these people.
Yeah, well, and also he's
one from that one song.
From the Bare Naked Ladies song.
Bare Naked Ladies.
I hope the Smoking Man's in this one.
Although here's the thing, so I think I even mentioned we talked about X-Files before, and while I think that some of the promo stuff that David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson has done as an outsider, I think has been super adorable.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the trailer, it was like a to be continued trailer, and then the next one, so those two were kind of combined.
Which we posted on the Fancave Facebook, so you can check that out.
Which we posted. I watched those, and I was like, I kind of now want to go back and watch the show because I'm like I was very intrigued by it, and I did love. Well, mostly I'm reading the commentary of people who are big X-Files people, and they're like, "This is everything!" Like whatever Mulder was saying to Scully, they were like, and they were like, just trust me, I know what I'm doing. And she's like, you're, whatever it is that she says. And so I'm like, this kind of makes me want to go back and watch it now because there seems to be there's such excitement over these 2 trailers. Where to me as an outsider, I'm like, it looks like I actually would watch this.
I'd watch it.
Not even watching the other ones, I'm like, this looks pretty interesting, but it even made me want to be like, actually, maybe I'll go back and watch some of the old episodes and see. So
this is I was about to say, I actually, when I watched the trailer, I went and I rewatched my favorite episode of X-Files immediately after watching the trailer, which is DPO, which has Giovanni Ribisi and Jack Black in it.
Well,
Jack
why
Black
wouldn't you watch
hot back then, which is funny. I know, it's
shenanigans.
I'll send you a picture.
Please do, because I don't believe you.
Heather just sent us a GIF. Heather Feather sent us a GIF that says it's it's Mulder on the phone, and it says, "Scully, this is a classic case of demon fetal harvest." Yep, that's
probably funny. That's probably funny.
Demon fetal harvest. I'm gonna send you this GIF. So wait, I don't know how to send it to you. It's
am I gonna think it's funny?
The idea of a classic case of demon fetal harvest, like that's a thing. Like,
I just
remove the X-Files from it as a thing. Heather, don't listen to her. It's funny.
I'm sorry. I was saying but it's funny, but I didn't know if it was like an inside joke or because I also watched Supernatural, so I feel like demon
exactly
would be a thing on that show.
It would. It would be.
If you were to say like, oh, a classic case of.
I don't know, whatever.
Wendigo,
something. Oh,
I'd be like, oh, Wendigo. Oh, classic case of shifters. I'm like, shifters, So I'm like, should I think demon fetal harvesting is one of those things?
I'm gonna, you guys, I have to post all of, Heather's on a roll here with the GIFs, and I'm not gonna attempt to explain them and have them fail like that last one did, but I'll post.
I feel like I failed that one.
I will post them on the blog because I'm dying. I don't know if you can see I have a little tear in my eye from this. They're delightful. Thank you, Fev. We appreciate your input. What else? What do we have here? I'm assuming you don't have a list because you didn't have an intro either.
I am a failure.
Failure. We should have had Heather on today. Heather, you had to come back. Come back and talk about things.
No,
this is actually, I was thinking.
Made that comment about NSYNC. Remember, I told her she can't come back.
That's true. You did ban her. I forgot. But here's my.
That wasn't a real ban, you guys.
It wasn't real. It wasn't real, Heather. We love you so much. My thought was when I forgot about this legitimately until you emailed me this link the other day or messaged me this link the other email. What am I, 50? You messaged me this link. To these previews of all the BBC shows that are coming out, and among them was Sherlock. And I forgot that when Heather and I initially started this podcast, it was essentially to talk about Sherlock.
Was it?
So, our first episodes are basically a little bit of talking about pop culture, and then the end, the last 30 minutes of every episode is us talking about Sherlock.
I remember that now because I purposely did not watch them because I was behind.
Yes, there you go. And now you can go back because you finished them 2 weeks ago or whatever.
I can go back now. That's
and listen. So I think when the next Sherlocks start up, or if we use Ola and watch the Sherlock on BBC, we should. Hiddles, all the hiddles. Heather, you should come back when we watch that, and for the episodes that are when Sherlock airs, you should join us because we miss you. We miss your face so much. Still sending GIFs.
Why do you want to leave me?
Bye. So there's that. So Sherlock, that's happening, and I can't wait for that. And there's Hiddles things. Like everything is just. It's just wonderful on the BBC.
Basically, I'm going to move to England.
I know. That's the only solution, really, is to move to England.
In order to watch the shows that I want to watch, I have to move.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. In other pop culture news, Home Alone is returning to theaters for its... You ready for this, you guys?
Oh, God. Don't say it. I don't want to hear it.
I'm going to have to say it. I'm going to have to put it out there. 25th anniversary.
Oh my God.
25th.
That's terrible.
25. That's insane.
That is.
That movie is 25 years old. Jurassic Park and Home Alone are legitimately kind of tied for my favorite movies of all time. I watch them constantly. It doesn't have to be Christmas for me to watch Home Alone. I will watch it any time of year.
Hey, I just saw Die Hard yesterday. It doesn't have to be every day.
Exactly. It's not just a Christmas movie. And
so much more.
So much
than
more.
a Christmas movie, you guys.
So this is what you were talking about, Die Hard, though. It's like, I have seen this a million times. I legitimately know Home Alone beginning to end by heart. I am going to go see this in the theater. I mean, it won't come anywhere near here. I may have to drive a really long way to actually do that, but I am so excited to get to see this on the big screen because I was 5 in 1990. And, you know, poor folk. So it wasn't like my parents were paying for 5-year-olds to go see movies. So the only 3 movies I ever remember seeing in the theater as a child were Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Hook. Yeah. And then a friend's parent took me to see Harry at the Spy. Yep. And when we went to see Hook, my freaking little sister got her foot stuck in the seat. And so that was kind of a disaster and probably also contributed to why we never went to movies after that. And when we went to see Little Mermaid, I went to see that with my dad. No, when I went to see Beauty and the Beast with my dad, the Beast scared me and I threw popcorn everywhere. So we were kind of a disaster to take places, as it turns out. So I did not get to see.
Much to do with you being poor, just that you were.
It was a combination of the things. Yeah, it is a combination of problems here. But Home Alone is one that I watched constantly. I would spend the summers in New Jersey with my grandmother, and just like watch Home Alone and Clueless constantly, just on VHS. That was all I did, which I think she had taped off the TV.
Yeah, I think you make good movie choices. Oh, are you kidding me? I watched Bed Knobs and Broomsticks off the TV, and the Mary Martin version of Peter Pan, the play.
There you go. Yeah, we definitely had that on VHS. Oh my gosh. Kristen, you have to look at the Twitter right now because this GIF that Heather sent is distinctly for you.
Oh,
this is for
Heather!
you.
That's
you
so nice of you.
Although she may have @replied me instead, but and Electric Fancave, so you can see it. But check the Twitter; you're gonna appreciate this one. But yeah, so Home Alone is coming back to theaters in November, so look out for that. Find the screenings in your area if you're like me and you were obsessed with that movie and still are obsessed with that movie. It's wonderful. That's what I'm saying. And if you've never seen it, every now and again I come across people who have never seen that movie and it's confusing, but I guess that happens somehow. I don't know. Also,
which one am I supposed to click on? The 1 minute ago?
Yeah, try that. You'll know when you see it.
Ball so hard, motherfucker.
Nope. That's not it. I'm sorry for Kristen's language.
Yeah!
Oh, there we go. She sent an NSYNC.
Heather,
yes.
You redeemed yourself. You can come back.
Yes, an NSYNC apology. The Home Alone one is amazing too. Heather, how do you do this? You guys.
This is so good.
I don't understand how Heather finds GIFs so fast. This is a superpower. Like,
I think Heather has I think what she does is she finds GIFs and then she saves them, knowing that one of these days, and she's gonna be like, "Yep,
like this is gonna be
time for my NSYNC apology GIF."
In fact, I can't decide if I like that better or if I like the idea of her Googling NSYNC apology GIF.
Although I'm not sure how she found it. It wasn't even real cream cheese. It was light cream cheese. I don't know what she had that filed under.
See, those are funnier when you actually see them for yourself. You don't.
The truth is out there. The truth is out there. I know that's what the saying is. At least I know that much about it.
Kristen understanding jokes. That's a thing.
What? It's such a rare occasion. It's like a blood moon.
I'm so happy for you right now.
It's
so great.
It's so true.
It's a really didactic fan cave. We're learning a lot, and it's wonderful. Let's see if Heather has a GIF for the familiar X-Men that will not be returning.
Oh yes, I think we've talked about Gambit.
We've talked about Gambit because of our heartbreak over Riggins.
Tim Riggins, Texas Forever.
Yeah. And Channing Tatum, like, being in and out and then in again and all that kind of stuff. So Channing Tatum's doing it. This is a thing. The movie is happening. But today, I love this because it's just so blunt. A fan tweeted at Anna Paquin and was like, "But will you be in the Gambit movie, though?" And she, like, legit just responded, "No." That's it. N-O, period. Lowercase, no effort whatsoever. Just, nope, not doing that. Not going to be in that movie. So I don't know how I feel about that because she was Rogue is one of my favorite characters. I always wanted to be Rogue growing up. Absolutely loved her.
Rogue was awesome.
Because she's a badass. Like, why wouldn't you want to be Rogue? So, I love her. I was never super, like, attached to Anna Paquin as Rogue, but I do love in the X-Men movies the continuity of the fact that we generally get the same people playing the same characters. So I don't know if Rogue's just not going to be in Gambit, which would be weird, but or if they're recasting her. But yeah, it's like I just
think maybe she's too old. Is that it? I don't know what the time frame is, because it's supposed to be like an origin. Is this an origin story? Isn't it?
I don't know. I'm not like I don't really know anything about the story, to be honest with you. So yeah, maybe it's that. I don't know if she didn't want to be in it or if it didn't fit with the script or what the case may be. But Gaucho.
I'm sorry. He's like going at it back there. You're talking about it, and I'm like, Stop looking your balls.
Look at him now. He's embarrassed about it.
Sorry, I just shamed him. Sorry,
you just dog shamed him.
Nope, no, I didn't.
No, he's going for his feet now. He's like, no, I wasn't licking my junk. It was my toes. It was totally my toes. Gaucho, you're a disgrace. Anyway, Anna Paquin won't be back. So
not be back. So we'll see if Rogue is there or if Rogue is.
It's a Gambit movie. Rogue has to be there.
I honestly bet. I bet it has. They only do origin stories now.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no
true.
way it's not gonna be an origin story.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It's gonna be someone.
So what'll happen is they're looking for someone younger. I would put money on that if I was a betting person, which I'm not because I don't like to lose money. I only bet on sure things. Like the time I won,
you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them.
That's true, and I know when to bet them. My friend tried to bet me $20 that Garrett Hedlund was not in Pan.
It's the weirdest bet.
It was a really random bet. And I don't even know how it came about. We were talking about the movie, and I don't even know the name that he threw out there. He's like, oh, yeah, and so-and-so's in it. I was like, no, it's Garrett Hedlund. He's like, no, it's not. It's so-and-so. I was like,
this is easily disproved or proved.
Here's the thing. I don't want to, like, pull this because I don't like to do this. Well, actually, that's not true. I actually do like to pull this card a lot. I'm like, are you legit trying to argue with me on the name of an actor that's appearing in a movie that's coming out soon? Because that's...
Do you know what I do every Tuesday?
That's offensive to me. And he was like, it is... like I said, I can't even remember who it was. He said, I was like, I'll bet you $20 that it's Garrett Hedlund, and you're wrong. And he was like, okay. Boom. I'm like, that was the easiest $20 I've ever freaking made.
Once upon a time, I would have had to work for it. But
he pulls up, I didn't even have to look it up. He pulls it up, IMDb, and he just looks at it. And he looks at me, and he looks at his phone. I was like, he's like, I only have $16. I'm like, well, then you owe me $4 right now. That's what I'm saying. Because I am collecting on this bet.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta. When someone makes that kind of bet.
Here's the thing. I don't try to claim expertise in like world politics or things that actually matter in real life, but I for sure know what movies Garrett Hedlund is or is not in. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Well, he learned his lesson there.
He sure did. Sure.
Maybe he should start listening to the Fancave, then he'd know a thing or two.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I tell people.
Listen, you listen to us. You'll learn
some things and some things that we just pull straight out.
Yeah, some things it'll be the opposite of learning. Whatever the polar opposite of learning something is, it'll be that.
But
it's a healthy mix of both of those things.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Which is, that's life. Kristen, I just need to rant for a minute. It's our next topic. Have you heard the new Bond theme?
Okay, so I tried to listen to it on my way home from the grocery store.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find the real version. The first version I listened to was only music. And
because it's only on Spotify.
Oh, that's why. So then the YouTube video I tried to watch of this other one, it was like, it started playing. I'm like, oh, here it is. And then it cut into some girl's commentary about it. I was like, I don't want to effing hear you talk about the song. But I will say the one line I heard was, I forget what the first part was, but the second half of the line was, and I never get caught or they never catch me. And I was like, what's happening? But then, of course, I didn't get to hear the rest of it, so I don't technically have a thought on it other than I thought that was a really weird thing to put in there.
Yeah. So. It's like, I mean, Sam Smith apparently says he wrote it in 20 minutes, and that's what it sounds like. It's just like, it doesn't sound like a Bond theme at all. Just putting strings behind a song doesn't make it a Bond theme.
Right.
So it's a Sam Smith song, like, essentially. Like, it's a good Sam Smith song. It's not, like, I'm just imagining sitting for 5 minutes and watching, like, an opening sequence to it, and, like, I'm bored just thinking about it. The way I put it on Twitter was basically that it sounds like the soundtrack to, like, a really over emotional Supernatural fan video, you know, like that's what I see happening here.
Is it the one where is it a slasher video?
A slasher just slash. It's not murderers.
Slash video.
Yeah, it's a Destiel video where, like, you know, it's like
Destiel are my favorite. I actually really love those videos.
Yeah, no, that's how I imagine this song. Like, if you put this in the back of a Destiel video, I'd be like, sweet, and I'd add it to my Spotify Destiel playlist as a Bond theme.
Let's make our own Destiel video and put this song behind it.
Except it'll get taken off YouTube because that's the problem. That's why you couldn't find it on there. It's super, like.
Let's not put it on YouTube. Let's just make it for our own gratification.
This is just going to be a thing. You guys just know Kristen and I are going to have a Destiel video with that Sam Smith song, and it's going to be...
Let's do it, because remember we were going to talk about Taylor Swift and hopefully see if her people would take us off the air.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
With this song
with
instead.
This. I like it. We'll do it in the fan cave. You guys keep an eye out. We're just trying our hardest to see what it takes to get a tiny podcast kicked off of the internet. So stay tuned.
So let's take votes. Do you think it'll be talking
trash about Taylor Swift?
Talking trash about Taylor Swift, or using the Bond theme song in a Destiel video?
This feels like those head gutter groin games on America's Funniest Home Videos. Do you not watch America's Funniest Home Videos? I am 30 years old and I still watch America's Funniest Home Videos. They have these games. They bring people up from the audience and they show, like, a clip and then they freeze it. And then like Tom Bergeron is like, "Do you think it's the person's going to get hit in the head, gut, or groin?" And they have to guess which one it's going to be. So this is our head, gut, or groin. Is will we get taken off the air for dissing T Swift or for using Sam Smith for an unauthorized Destiel video? So take your vote. Let us know what you think.
They don't know who Destiel is, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, there's that. That's a good point. Kristen, your mouth tonight is just uncontrollable.
I'm so stressed out. I'm sorry.
I know.
My nose is kind of plugged up. I don't know.
I know. I've been noticing, like, over the course of the podcast, you've just gotten more and more
I've gotten more congested. My life is hard, you guys.
This is just like the most pathetic Kristen on the planet.
It's so pathetic.
She's just gonna, like, all of a sudden be like, "I'm bleeding. Like, what's happening? I don't understand." Life is so hard. One more thing, Kristen. One more thing. Good news for our man Mark Watney.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Do you wanna tell it? Do you wanna tell it?
No, you can.
There's water on Mars. Potentially, they think, currently flowing water.
Raise your glass, everyone.
Raise your glass. This is good news. This is good
water
news.
On Mars.
Listen, they've known.
Wait, I have a glass of water right here. I'm gonna raise this instead.
Oh, I think I have. Oh, here we go. I'll raise my.
Cheers.
Cheers. They have known for a while now there was ice. There was ice on Mars. But that didn't necessarily say that there's actually currently water there. At one point, there was water, there was ice. That's cool. But if that's not a thing anymore, then that obviously makes a difference in the habitability of Mars. But they have sort of looked at these, kind of cratery sort of things that are on Mars, and they have posited that this actually means that currently there is water that flows on Mars, which is I'm sorry, it's another GIF, which is super interesting. But another thing that I thought was funny on top of this, I mean, one of the things that was funny about this whole story is that it was like, oh, there's going to be like a big thing from NASA. They're going to tell us something about Mars. And this is what they said was, you know, hey, we found this evidence that there may be currently running water, which means that Mars could potentially sustain life, yada, yada, yada. And people were like disappointed about it. They were like, oh, I thought it was going to be like, there's like life on Mars. Like we're going to find like aliens, whatever. I'm like, what? Come on. How can you be disappointed?
Did you see that link that Duncan posted about Tom Hanks' Reddit?
Oh, no, I didn't.
So I went through and so essentially what had happened, this is related, I promise you guys, just bear with me.
I'm sure it'll come back around, maybe.
So apparently Tom Hanks, the article, you know, assumes that he was bored yesterday. And so instead of being asked to do a Reddit, what are they called, ADAs? AMAs. When people ask them questions, he just went through and, you know, people just have threads of questions to ask. And so he just went through and answered some of them.
Oh my God.
And so, you know, when it's like, what's one of the movies that, you know, is kind of underrated for like a famous actor that no one ever talks about when talking about the actor's work. And so he goes on, he's like, oh, That Thing You Do, hands down, is the best movie. No one ever talks about it, whatever. Yeah. And one of the questions was, what would be the most underwhelming announcement NASA could make about Mars? His answer was, no one's here, or nothing here, or something like that. Something that was really funny. And if you know how big he is on NASA and science and space, it's super nerd about that. It was just very adorable. You really should go back. It's actually on our Facebook page. Duncan posted it there. If you guys want to take a look, and I'm sure we should just link to it also. But it was pretty endearing. He just went through and was like, I mean, obviously random people are also answering these questions, and he's like, oh, I think this, you know, or oh, this. What's amazing. The best thing you could get for under $150 something? And he goes, oh, working typewriter. I'm like, oh my God, you're so adorable.
I love it.
It's the cutest thing ever. Yeah. But yes, it was exciting. And then I actually posted on a friend of mine who loves The Martian. He's the one that lent it to me in the first place. I sent him, so I think we've talked about this before. The Martian's marketing team is genius because they market this movie as if the Ares mission is an actual thing. They had Neil deGrasse Tyson come in and do a little, like, if they were, you know, this is what the team has to do to get ready for Mars. Like, Under Armour has an entire commercial about what astronauts have to do to work out, and they're wearing Under Armour. It's genius. Yeah. So there's this clearly, you know, cell phone video of Matt Damon kind of raising a glass of water to NASA, being like, this is exciting news. He's like, I wish I'd known there was water when I was trapped on Mars, but maybe next time when I'm there. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. I love it so much.
It's amazing. And the funny thing is that I was going to say is that apparently NASA told Ridley Scott there was water on Mars like months ago.
Oh, really?
So he actually knew about this, but it was too late for it to be incorporated into the movie, which I think is hilarious. Like they were like, hey, heads up. Like NASA is so invested in this movie that they gave the director a heads up on something that like we didn't get to find out for months.
Yeah. And this movie is making NASA, they're getting front and center on it, I think, which is fun. And then also, there's another thing. There was some scientists recently, and I didn't get to read the article. I think I saved it actually to read, but they were, whoever the person was is some kind of scientist, and they're like, this is surprisingly accurate for as far as movies go on science. And so I know we've said it a zillion times. I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited to see this movie. This Friday it comes out. Actually, I text my friend Jill, and I was like, what are you doing Friday afternoon? Do you want to go see The Martian? She was like, yes, I do. So
good.
Go see
That's
it this weekend. I'm just excited, and it's going to be so fun. It's just going to be it's just going to be a fun, good, one of those feel-good movies. So we're excited. So good job, Mars. Way to have water.
Way to go, Mars. Next step, life. And just as the final GIF that we have been sent here, pertaining to our last conversation, is an eagle with the head of Misha Collins, a.k.a. Castiel, picking up Jensen Ackles, a.k.a. Dean, out of the water and flying away.
But looking down somewhat lovingly at him.
Yeah, exactly. As he does, so. I've got you, Dean. what does he say? I grasp you from perdition, or I don't know. Brienne knows that.
It goes, I gripped you and raised you from perdition.
There you go. That's what's happening. That's what this eagle cast is
I'm telling you, that is still one of the best episodes.
Yeah, word. So that's what we have for you this week. I hope you had a good time hanging out with us.
Sorry we were late. I'm sorry I'm a mess. I don't know.
Kristen is slowly dying. It's gotten to the point where your breathing is like so labored that I'm having trouble breathing, like in sympathy.
Dude, I was watching this TED Talk this week, and the guy was had really good facts and said really great things, but was clearly not a public speaker. Because he's like, he's breathing so hard. Like, there are times where he's like, and I'm like, I can't breathe with you. This is painful for me to watch. But it was like so adorable. And he was really great. It was actually a really great talk, but it was similar. And I'm like, I feel like I'm that guy where I can't catch my breath.
You're like the kid from Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh my God.
Sad. So before Kristen dies, thank you guys for hanging with us.
Can I say one more thing, actually, though, before we go?
One more thing. Go for it.
Okay. So talking about
say what you need to say.
Oh gosh. Before we go, so talking about TV shows, Miss Fisher's Murder Mystery season 3 premiered on Netflix last time we were doing this show, we got a notification that it was on.
Yes,
so
we were.
That's what we're going to be doing. So my mom texts me right now, and she's like, she goes, so there's this if you don't watch the show, anyway, I'm just going to read this one. She goes, okay, number 1, where the hell is Hugh? He needs to get back. We all need to learn to waltz, if you don't know this episode that we're talking
Truth.
about. And then she goes, oh, and the new constable is quite, and she puts it in quotes, dishy.
Dishy? Who is she quoting? Who says dishy?
I don't know, but I love it so freaking much.
Patty Lat, you're adorable.
Oh, the new constable is quite dishy if he was gone for good. Just saying.
Okay, let's not throw the Hugh baby out with the bathwater here. All right.
Oh my gosh. I don't even think I've ever used the word dishy, but this is probably my new favorite thing that's ever happened.
No, it's gonna be a thing. So when this constantly comes up on the Fan Cave, blame Kristen's mom. It's her fault.
Definitely using dishy and the fact that Corey and I are the human form
of the 100 emoji. Indeed. So with that,
this
has been the Electric Fan Cave. You can find us on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, Twitter, Facebook at Electric Fan Cave, or electricfeast.com, where the blog is, where you can find the links to all the fun things that we've been talking about. Remember, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and whatever the hell time, Mountain or Central time, we're here hanging out, and you can talk with us and send us GIFs, as our dear friend Heather Feather has been doing. Our tech support Duncan was out this week, but he usually throws in. Sean, Melanie, everybody who had a hand in discussing with us everything. We love you, and we're glad you're here. Keep on tuning in. So for this week, I'm Corrigan Vaughn.
I'm Kristen Latterell.
Peace out, everybody.
Take it easy, kids.
Woo!
Gosh.